Well, hello everybody. I have the rear end back together, got my spring in there temporarily just to get the location to mount the rear shock mounts. That's where I'm at now. So let me set you down and I'll show you what I've been doing. Okay. This is the front lower shock mount for 48 to 52 Ford F1 pickup truck. When I bought my steering box and the front brakes and stuff, this was on the axle and I thought, man, I'll use that. So I'm using this for the upper shock mount. And what I did to get it to fit, so I got some Schedule 80 piping here. That this fit in nice too. And this is going to go inside. Sorry, I put some grooves right here, and then I'm going to weld it around here. So this is attached to the pipe, and then I'm going to slide the pipe in like that. And then these lower shock mounts, the Ford ones come on 1947, 1948 Ford passenger cars. I've been looking the whole time I've been collecting parts, which is a little over a year, and I just haven't been able to find any. So I had to buy some reproduction ones. The Ford ones are the same thing, these are just reproduction ones. Then for the lower shock mount, there. And so that's how the shock's going to mount. I'm not coming up with this stuff myself. I'm just following the Bishop Tardell book of how to build a traditional Ford hot rod. They come up with this system, so I'm just following that book basically. But it looks like it's going to work really well. So let me get to welding. Okay, they're all welded in, and that's the rear shock mounts and how they're going to be. Now I need to put my motor and tranny back in and then figure out how short I need to cut my torque tube and drive line. So that's what I'll be doing next. Alright, well, I've taken the torque tube off the Model A, which is the one I use to set up my engine and transmission. The 39 banjo differential is a little bit bigger, but I used that torque tube as a template basically to get the length of my torque tube and drive shaft for the 39 that I'm going to use. It turns out I had to remove 1.5 inches from the Model A drive shaft, but it's in there now. Now all I got to do is take that out and take all three to the drive shaft shop and have them make everything that length. Had to put the motor back in, get everything bolted up, and yep, that's where I'm at. Well, yesterday I worked on getting the torque tube shortened and stuff. I took that Model A torque tube and used that as a template to get the right length to cut the 39, which is quite a bit longer. But while I was fitting it, I found that the rear spring and shackles were moving quite a bit because I just have bolts in there right now. Those shackles were all jacked up when I took them out of the Model A and the 39. But so I was kind of getting different fittings. So I'm going to have to wait until I get better shackles, new shackles that fit in there nice and tight, to finish that up. So I got that kind of on hold right now. So I'm going to have to start working on my front suspension pretty soon. And this is the front wishbone out of 39. And originally the 39 was a spring in front. Again, spring in front, front end. So what you have to do to modify those to a spring over front end, like I'm going to run, like the Model A, is the little front spring hanger before the spring set across there. You cut those off like that, and then I rounded them off, and they'll look like that. So when they're sitting in there, they kind of look like they were made that way. And also today, I'm kind of mocking up the front end, the spindles here. Working on that, just to kind of get an idea of how it's going. I still have to bend the steering arms, or the spindle arms and stuff, to clear this lowered dropped axle here. That's why nothing's painted or anything yet. I gotta wait till all that modifications are done. But that's kind of what I'm tinkering with today. Okay, so after cleaning up the ends of the wishbones, I split them. I cut them off the yoke, and the reason why, you can tell, like, this is the original 39 yoke. It's pretty narrow, and below it here is the Model A yoke, which is quite a bit wider, and also you can see it drops down from that ball a little bit. So what that does is it helps me clearance the oil pan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out the length that I need, and then cut the Model A wishbone, and then insert a pipe and do some bending and connect them up to the length of wishbone that I need. So I'm going to try to run the stock style wishbone on there. That's the plan anyway. We'll see how it goes when I start mocking it up. Alright, well, hey guys, I'm my plan is to put these Ford F1 pickup truck front brakes on, and I've torn them apart, I've rebuilt them. But there's a few things that you have to do to modify the 48-52 Ford F1 front brakes to fit, and one of them, I mean, it's pretty easy modification. One of them is to buy new inner bearings and seals, and when you get the Timken bearings, they're a sharp edge. Let's see if you can see that. They're a sharp edge right in this area here, and you have to round that edge off so that it fits correctly when it seats on the spindle. Let me show you real quick here. Actually, I don't know if you're going to be able to get that low. Getting my camera all greasy. Alright. So there's a little rounded area on the spindle right where my finger is there. And if you don't round this bearing, the square edge of that bearing will keep the brakes from going all the way on, that spindle from going all the way on. So you have to round that bearing, and then it'll slide. And it'll slide all the way on there with a good fit. But anyway, I'm putting on the spindles right now, so maybe I can put on my wheels and tires and get some weight on the front end. You know, I was going to try to use the Model A front axle that I had. I really wanted to use it, but man, there was so many problems with it. I could not get one of the king pins out, still in there. Even with heat, I could not get it out. And
one of the perch pins was really hard to get out. I had to have a lot of heat, and the axle was bent up anyway, and by the time I sent that Model A axle off to get dropped and straightened, rebushed and all that stuff, it was actually more money than a new axle is. And the Model A axles are forged, which is what you want. So I went to Chassis Engineering and got a forged dropped axle. I bought their whole front end kit with the spring, shackles, shock mounts, although I don't know if I'm going to use those shock mounts. I'm not digging them too much. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get the weight onto the front and rear suspension so that I can figure out the length of my wishbones. I want to mount them back there. And hey, Jet. Yeah. But I have to get the weight on the wheels to figure out where to mount them. Anyway, that's where I'm at right now.